International acclaim for Barbados as the city is designated a World Heritage Site. Hundreds of Barbadians seek out the latest NHC housing solutions. And in sports, the National Track and Field Championships get underway.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. We begin with good news, an historic moment for Barbados as the city of Bridgetown is designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Approval came during a United Nations meeting in France. Prime Minister Frandl Stewart has welcomed Barbados' newest designation.
Barbados now joins a select group of countries that have that UNESCO Heritage Site inscription. I want to congratulate the team on a job well done. We didn't take anything for granted. The merits of historic Bridgetown and its garrison were eloquently put by the team, and Barbados is now the better off for that. It will have implications, of course, for our tourist industry. It adds to the tourist product because this is now a specific that can be part of our marketing strategy for tourism. So I think we've done an excellent job.
And joining us live now from Paris, France is Culture Minister Stephen Lashley. Minister Lashley?
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm sure it's an exciting time there in France for Barbados. What does this designation mean?
Well, it means, you would have heard the Prime Minister putting it very eloquently, Barbados has been able, by a lot of hard work that has gone into this particular project, from a number of people, the members of the delegation here, Alexandra Cummins, Mark Cummins, Steve Devonish, Dr. Tara Innes, Kevin Farmer, Dr. Marion Williams, Joyce Grisette. They have all worked exceedingly hard, well supported, of course, over the years by the ministry staff, the permanent secretary, the deputy permanent secretary, the World Heritage Committee, and of course, this process would have started under my predecessor, the Honourable Steve Blackett as well. So this has been a continuous process, and what we have done here in Paris is to roll up our sleeves. We had many nights of ensuring that we put the Barbados case for the designation of historic Bridgetown and the garrison. And what it really means is this is perhaps one of the most prestigious inscriptions that a country could have, where part of its territory is actually recognized as being fitted to be inscribed as a World Heritage Site. This is going to be an extremely good sell in relation to Barbados heritage tourism product. As you know, heritage tourism is one of the most fast-selling products across the globe. And for Barbados, a small territory of just 166 odd square miles, to be able to do this is really phenomenal. The mood within the plenary today, as we finally was able to the World Heritage Committee, which is comprised of a number of countries, was awesome, and that is really the word that I would use. Awesome, an atmosphere, an environment of humility, but one of pride for Barbados to be able to have this inscription done at this time.
So you mentioned that it could be part of our heritage tourism. Will you then be working with the Ministry of Tourism, the BTA and other such agencies to start promoting Barbados in this light?
Of course, I'm sure the Minister of Tourism will be very heartened to hear this news because, as you know, Barbados prides itself on having a very diversified tourism product. And any country that is able to put its name on the World Heritage list must respond because, of course, persons seek out jurisdictions that have that kind of prestige. And you will find that persons will be drawn now to historic Bridgetown and its garrison. And of course, what it also does is to create the environment for further research. And I think over the next months and so, you will see both ministries and, of course, the government of Barbados looking to see how best we can actually market this new designation. And it is really something that will redound not only to heritage tourism and culture, but it is a signal that Barbados, a small country that emerged from the dark shadows of slavery into a modern society, has within its territory a site that is worthy of international emulation.
Minister Lashley, thank you very much and congratulations to yourself and the team there in France.
Thank you very much.
And heritage expert Peter Stevens and historian Dr. Carl Watson were some of the key figures behind Barbados' successful bid.
It's related to our sense of nationhood, our sense of identity, our sense of heritage, our sense of patrimony, and our sense of pride in ourselves as a nation.
President of the Barbados National Trust, historian Dr. Carl Watson, responding to the news of historic Bridgetown and its garrison's inscription on the prestigious UNESCO Memory of the World Heritage List. Exactly what does this mean for Barbados?
Tourism is our major money earner. It can be parlayed, I think, into something very meaningful for Barbados' economic situation.
Peter Stevens of the Garrison Historical Consortium provided invaluable information that made up the intellectual support for the inscription.
Barbados can, to a certain extent, glow in the recognition and the understanding that we actually have something that is more important than the limits of our boundaries. This designation will be convincing the rest of the world there is something more here to see than just the sand and the sea.
Dr. Watson sees it as a major catalyst for Barbadians to finally come together and agree on the following.
We have a valuable heritage, we have a heritage that's marketable, that's saleable, and so we need to preserve this heritage. And this World Heritage Listing, as I said, will act as a catalyst to help us manage and maintain and preserve and conserve our heritage.
Sherwood McCoskey, CBC News.
Thank you very much, Sherwood. The evening news returns in just a moment. Hundreds of Barbadians today flocked to Woodbourne on the border of Christchurch and St. Philip to check out government's latest housing offerings from the National Housing Corporation. Our Mike Goddard reports.
There were 4 houses on show, all designed for first-time homeowners who are low-income earners. Those attending the fair were able to explore the wood and concrete houses. Prime Minister Frondell Stewart visited the fair, accompanied by Housing Minister Michael Lashley, Minister Patrick Todd, and officials of the NHC.
The idea is that persons who access these models, whether in stone or in wood, would take hold of the plans as well, and at their pace over a period of time, because of the design of the house, be able to complete it to their satisfaction. Now, you can't want it better than that, and the costs are by no means prohibitive.
Mr. Stewart said he was impressed with the houses, saying that this new project reflected a traditional approach to Barbadian housing. Prime Minister Stewart announced that people purchasing these houses at Woodbourne will be able to get some financial assistance.
Through the IADB, there is going to be some assistance, financial assistance. The sum of money, $10,000, yes. $10,000 subsidy for persons who want that initial impetus. And so people should liaise with the National Housing Corporation, get all the information that is required so that these excellent opportunities do not pass them by.
Mr. Stewart explained that government, through the Rural Development Commission, will continue to assist those who cannot afford these houses. Today's fair also gave prospective homeowners the opportunity to get information from a number of agencies. These included banks, insurance companies, and businesses offering furniture and appliances. Mike Goddard, CBC News.
Barbados has recorded its 12th road fatality for the year. Dead is Benedict Ballantyne, 55 years, of Greenland Enterprise, Christchurch. Police say Ballantyne died in hospital yesterday after an accident on Wednesday. Ballantyne's motor car was involved in an accident with a van. He was temporarily trapped in the vehicle and after being freed was taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance after complaining of chest pains. The van was driven by 27-year-old Jason Clark of Buckley's Terrace, St. George. The accident occurred on Enterprise Main Road. Government is working to improve the justice system in Barbados. According to Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite, one of the areas under consideration is the establishment of a national prosecution service. He was speaking during the opening ceremony of the Supreme Court complex at White Park Road, St. Michael, which will house the Supreme Court, the Registration Department, and the Community Legal Services Commission.
The government is also considering the establishment of a national prosecution service to be staffed by fully trained attorneys at law under the control of the Director of Public Prosecutions for the prosecution of all criminal cases which are currently prosecuted by police officers in the magistrate courts. The Legal Profession Act will be modernized over the next few months to ensure greater protection of client affairs. Indeed, I have already initiated dialogue with the Barbados Bar Association in this regard. We are presently working with a service provider to have the laws of Barbados online and available to access for all citizens and users of our laws. These are all areas that the government is continuing to work on to improve the system of justice in Barbados.
Better days are ahead for domestic workers in Barbados. After 65 years of trying, the International Labour Organization has adopted a convention which guarantees them several fundamental rights. General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Sir Roy Trotman, says it is now up to governments to ratify the convention. BWU Senior Assistant General Secretary Tony Moore, who presented the resolution at the ILO meeting, outlined some of the provisions.
The right to written contracts. There is also the provision for social protection now for domestic workers, which would be in keeping with protection afforded to other workers generally and subject to national laws in the respective member countries. Also, under social protection, there's the opportunity for these workers to have maternity leave protection.
Well, Ms. Moore said Barbados and other regional governments will now have to introduce legislation related to the convention.
The $1.50 per hour, that's $1.50 per hour that domestic workers are entitled to under that legislation. That will be one of the areas that would obviously need to be corrected when the Employment Rights Bill is actually passed. That would take care of a number of the provisions that the instruments afford. That is written contracts. Domestic workers will now have rest days that are defined in law. They would also be able to have conditions negotiated for on-call or standby hours, as we will call them.
Look for Prime Minister Frandell Stewart in the Calypso tents this crop over season. He says he's always attended the tents, but may be more visible now that he is Prime Minister. He has also been commenting on the popular Calypso by Adrian Clark, We Need an Answer, and popularly known as Frandell.
So far as the Adrian Clark song is concerned, I applaud him. He knows how to find a good topic. Subject matter is good, and he should win. Subject matter is very good. You don't look for in essentials and small topics to deal with. You look for the big ones, and he's chosen the big one. In fact, he's chosen the biggest one. He's a sensible fellow.
Andy Thornhill will be along shortly with the sports package.
Hello, good evening. I'm Andy Thornhill with the sports news. In cricket, the West Indies and Indian teams are on local soil. Both teams arrive via Red Jet charter flight out of Jamaica this evening, ahead of the second test match, which starts Tuesday at Kensington Oval. One by one, the West Indies players trickled out of the arrival hall, while the Indians, well, they came out as a unit just behind our boys, and they were met by officials from the Digicel Barbados. There's one change to the West Indies side in Kirk Edwards, replacing Brendan Nash. And in the batting, and the batting concern for the West Indies team manager Richard Richardson says Kensington's pitch can work in their favor.
The nature of the wicket in Barbados is always sort of like favor our style of play more over the years, traditionally. We were just hoping that we get a wicket that suits us more. The Jamaica wicket wasn't a bad wicket, it was a pretty good wicket, but still, I think it was a bit more in their favor. But not criticizing, not saying about it, because I would have loved to have batted on that wicket. The reason why we really didn't win in Jamaica is that we didn't score enough.
And of course, we apologize for the quality of that extract. That's the West Indies manager, Richie Richardson. Most of the excitement on day 2 of their 4th series of the Lion BCA's First Division cricket was at Leicester Vaughan. Tell you why. There were over 300 runs scored and 2 batsmen slammed hundreds. Shane Paris hit his maiden Division 1 ton with 108 in Guardian General Barbados' youth tally of 261. His knock was decorated with 11 sixes and 6 fours. Stefan Gooden took 7 for 53. BNB St. Catherine finished the day on 192 for 2, thanks to a swashbuckling knock of 112 from Ronaldo Raga Kelman. His rampant blade slashed 12 fours and 7 sixes from just 73 deliveries. The veteran Ahmed Proverbs also chipped in with 69 not out. Barbados' opener Dale Richards also notched 3 figures with 102, continuing from his overnight score of 81 as Carlton made 289. Kevin Stout took 4 for 48. Stout capped a very good day as ICBL Empire replied with 198 for 3. He was not out 47, and Barbados' skipper Ryan Hines was not out on 70. Down at Trents, the top team, CGI Maple, Sunnycrest, held the upper hand over bottom club Lyme. Having dismissed Lyme in their first innings for 120, Maple knocked up 226 for 8 declared. The informed Ronaldo Paris hit 65, Shane Ramsey 33, Kirk Broom 30 not out to guide them to the first innings points. Randy Thomas had earlier top scored in the Lyme first innings with 67. Ramsey took 4 for 44. He now has 31 wickets to be precise. Scores in other matches at Queen's Park, Sagicor Life UB 182, Andre Marshall 5 for 42, Andre Gill 4 for 60, Romel Kersey made 73. Super Center Spartan has replied with 140 for 3, Shamar Brooks 65 not out. At Beckles Road, ESCF Field Pickwick 133, Dwayne Smith 6 for 57, YMPC 145 for 8. At Paragon, Banks 192, Kofi Hurdle 59, Lorando Best 6 for 31, the BDS Sports Program 112 for 4. So today both bowlers and batsmen had a good day. The action will heat up tonight at the National Stadium during the National Track and Field Championships. It should be a lot different to day 1, which concentrated on preliminaries. Slow day, first day. This is the first heat in the preliminaries of the 100 meters for men open. Ramon Gittins wins it easily. He's done a 10.24. He's already qualified for the World Championships in South Korea. This is the second one. And Stephen Headley now emerging with 40 meters to go, pulling away from the field and doing so quite easily. Big Steve pulls up. Andrew Hines, who trains with Asafo Powell in all black, pulling away from the crowd and showing that he's the king of speed in Barbados at the moment. Let's see how that one turns out in the semi-finals, and of course the finals to come tonight at the National Stadium. 400 meters open for ladies. The first one in a canter. Nice easy style by Shade Seeley, now based overseas. Her competition might very well come from Kanik Alexander of St. Vincent. Also an Olympian, the Vincentian lass certainly outpaced this field and showed that she was the queen of the 400 meters, at least at the preliminary stage. Well, we'll see exactly how that one goes, and you should be at the stadium tonight. Ryan Braffett is going to be running. Barbados has been promoted to Group 2 of the Americas Zone of the Davis Cup. The Barbados team of Darian King, the US-based Hayden Lewis, Shannon Williams, the UK-based Anthony Marshall, along with non-playing captain Kevin Yard, had a successful Group 3 campaign in Bolivia. Barbados brushed aside their main rivals Bolivia and also took care of the Bahamas and Aruba en route to sweeping Pool B of their Group 3 campaign. A victory against Costa Rica in the promotion pool assured they had moved to another level, despite losing the final tie to Guatemala.
It was very, especially for me, it was very tough. Me playing number 1 at the age of 19, that was really tough. We had Hayden Lewis, who's much more experienced, but he did his job playing as the number 2, won all of his matches. And for me, he really pulled me up when it was really down, and that's what really mattered.
It was a new experience, more or less. The level was a little higher than it usually is. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It helped me in my game, improved a little more. We had to help each other when we're on the court. You need to inspire them, whatever, because it's really hard. It's really hard on the court. So you need some sort of inspiration. So our team members gave each other support, worked out.
Difference would have been Darian at the #1 position. Like I said, Hayden was a great help though, because of his experience playing Davis Cup. He was able to help Darian through some of his matches with some knowledgeable advice. And so that's basically the difference between the other couple of years. We got close to getting there about 3 years ago in Honduras. We were a match point away, but it wasn't to be then. And this is our year.
Barbados have not played in Group 2 of the Davis Cup since the 1990s. Having gained promotion, the hard work now begins.
8 countries will be competing in Group 2. The level is going to be a notch up from Group 3. So we do have our challenges in front of us, plus also to be playing 3 out of 5 sets instead of 2 out of 3, which will make it that much more tougher.
I think it will be very, very, very tough. But I think we still have a chance at least into it. I think we are all playing well now and continue training hard and stuff. And I know that we will do well in the Group 2 stage.
Andy? The likes of Serena Williams, Djokovic, Federer, and Murray through to the next round of Wimbledon. David serves up the weather next on the Evening News.
A very good evening to all, and we had this very dull and grey cast all over Barbados and indeed all over the region today. A combination of haze and a very dense covering of high-level cloud. It didn't affect the temperatures though. The maximum temperature at the airport got up to 30.9 degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature was 26.1. At 6 o'clock, skies were fair and hazy. The temperature down to 28.4. The humidity 77%. And the winds rushing out of the east at 34 kilometers per hour. No measurable rainfall. Now, 2 tropical waves in the eastern Atlantic. One is in the vicinity of around 27, 28 degrees west. The activity to the south of 16 degrees north. But most of the action is in the region of the intertropical convergence zone. Now, this mass of cloud, this represents the high-level cloud of which I spoke. All of it streaming in from the southwest. Some pretty heavy showers over the Guatemala area. But in the lower levels, the ridge of high pressure continued to be the dominant feature. And as a result, those stiff cooling breezes came into the area. The other tropical wave is pushing in around 49, 50 degrees west to the south of 16 degrees north. At present, most of the convection is pushing into the northeastern portion of Brazil. But by late tomorrow, the axis of that trough is going to be moving into the area. All the models are suggesting that the energy will pass, most of the energy will pass to the south of the area initially, but then we are seeing most of it migrating up the island chain, and we could very well see some scattered showers in the latter part of tomorrow. But let's take a look at some stats. Sunrise in Barbados tomorrow, 5:34. Sunset will be at 6:28. The one and only high tide, 12:43. The first low tide, 26 minutes after 6. The second is going to be at 5:39 in the p.m. The seas continue to be above normal due to the strong winds, moderate in open water, peaking at 2.5 meters. So we're urging small craft operators and sea bathers to continue to be cautious. The winds easterly to east-southeasterly 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. The outlook for Barbados tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, fair to partly cloudy and breezy with a few brief showers. Tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy and breezy, becoming cloudy with some showers towards evening. And for the Lesser Antilles tonight, fair to partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with a few isolated showers, and tomorrow partly cloudy with some scattered showers, mainly over the southern Windward Islands.